All right, welcome back to Greasy Gabe's Garage. Today we have got ourselves another project here. This is a VQ37vhr out of a G37, and it's got a blown head gasket and a lifted head. So we're gonna see if we can't save this thing and either sell it for profit or maybe just maybe throw it in our G35 out there. So let's be honest, there's a lot of VQ hate out there. These motors get a ton of hate. So some of y'all are probably wondering why even bother? Why even bother fooling around with the old Nissan motor? But truth is, these are the best. I will die in this hill. This is the best naturally aspirated V6 motor out there. Period. There's just not a better one. Keep in mind, I said V6. I did not just say 6 cylinders. Obviously, there are a ton of BMW 6 cylinders out there that could top this thing. But naturally aspirated V6, this is the best motor there is. You're not going to find anything better. This thing, they rev high. They're super balanced. They sound amazing if you get a good exhaust on them. They can handle boost. They're fantastic motors. They truly are. So you're probably wondering how I got this. I actually got this motor for free. The story is, at my shop that I work at, this lady came in her G37 and she overheated it. She was paying attention. She didn't realize it was overheating, and she drove it until it had lifted. So, and you can literally see too where it's been pissing coolant from. So that's going to be fun working on this thing and seeing what's messed up. It's probably super flooded in there. But anyways, so the guy that I bought the motor from, he used to work there, and he kept the motor because he thought that it was savable, but he never actually got around to working on it. I guess just, you know, just life. You don't got a lot of time. Well, I said, hey, I got time. I'll take it from you. And assuming that I don't sell this thing, it's mine. It's free, because it's realistically, this thing is unfortunately probably junk. But maybe we're wrong, and maybe we can actually make some profit off this thing. And if so, then we'll pay him back that core charge, which was like $80. So, you know, no big deal. Anyways, so let's get into checking this thing out. Most obvious, head gasket. That's obviously leaking. Thermostat looks new. All right, so let's get started with spinning this motor over. Important, this motor spins clockwise, so make sure you know which way your motor spins before you start spinning it. Some don't spin clockwise, some spin counterclockwise. It doesn't feel like it's binding at all. Oh, dude. No way, dude. This thing is cooked. It's spilling coolant. Dude, this thing is toast. Listen to it. It's like gurgling. Oh my gosh. So this thing's definitely flooded. Okay. That oil is more than likely going to be looking like chocolate milk than oil. So let's go ahead and get this filter off and see what that looks like. Ooh. Don't lose that. Alright, let's see what we're working with here. Uh-oh. Look at that. Hang on, I need to take this thing off my head. You gotta see this. Oh boy, that's not good. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's disgusting. Gross. Oh, it reeks. Okay. Well, that answers our question. I see a lot of chocolate milk, but I don't see any metal, so that's a good thing. You know, I would compression test this thing, but obviously we're not going to get any Any good results there. Okay. Well, I think we're gonna clean this up and put that filter back on because I don't have a new one and I don't want this thing just to be leaking everywhere. All right, so we got it moved over here. Now that we've got the messy stuff done, I just don't want to get any oil on this. Even though that's not oil anyways. But yeah, this thing's pretty cooked. So I think we're gonna take this intake manifold off since it's already kind of loose. And we just start ripping some stuff off this thing. All right, so we're tearing this thing down, took off the intake manifold, fuel rails, a couple of hoses. Most of it was already loose, I guess from whenever they were diagging this. But yeah, I think I figured out where the leak was coming from. Unless this was damage done when pulling the motor out. But this hose is pretty destroyed, so I do see some signs of coolant leaking over here. So maybe this is where it was leaking from. I don't know. Alright, well, we're gonna keep tearing stuff apart and start taking stuff off. Alright, so we've got some of the hoses off. Right now we're trying to get this coolant thing out. This is unusual. This is not something that's on the DEs. This is something I've only seen on HRs. Noticeable difference is that the radiator cap isn't actually on the radiator. It's right here. This is pretty interesting. I'm wondering if this has anything to do with how difficult the DEs were to bleed, and maybe this was their way of trying to fix that, because it looks like they've made this, because this is where you would bleed it from, and it looks like with this new setup, or I guess this updated setup, this is actually the highest point of the motor, which is actually pretty clever, because if you can see, it looks like the water pump would be down here. It'd be belt driven, so it would probably be right here, and that's where the thermostat is. So coolant's going to come in through here, because I know it's kind of weird, because typically the thermostat would let coolant out. Typically it's on the outside, or on the exit port. So like on LS, for example, the water pump's right up front. It's an external pump, it's belt driven. The thermostat is on the outside of the pump, or the exit side, so coolant is leaving through the thermostat. So this thermostat stays closed and it won't let coolant leave to the radiator until it reaches a certain temp. But on the VQs, it's the other way around. Coolant can go through the radiator, but it can't come back into the engine after going through the radiator until this thermostat has opened up, which is a little weird, but that's how it works. So coolant comes through the thermostat to the water pump. Pumps probably is going to feed the bottom end first, I would imagine. LSs don't do that, which is, I guess they don't do that with oil, but they do that with coolant. So anyway, so I'm assuming the coolant's going to feed the bottom end first, and then it's going to come up to the heads, and then it looks like it comes out the back of the heads here. On this port, there's one on each side of the head. It comes out the heads, and then it comes through this tube underneath the intake, and the highest point it reaches is this thermostat cap, or the radiator cap, which again isn't actually on the radiator, although I do believe there is a second cap on the radiator, which is a little weird, I guess, if you just wanted to fill the radiator up. But yeah, so I guess this makes it a lot easier to bleed these motors when it's set up like this, and then this is where it goes back into the radiator. So pretty cool, different, updated, better. Which again, this is when I said that this is basically just a perfected VQ. Like, this is everything that was wrong with the previous VQs. They fixed it with the VHR. This is what I meant. It's stuff like this right here. Just little things like the dipstick, the coolant, easier to check the oil, easier to bleed. It's just better. It's got variable valve timing on intake and exhaust. Early model DEs didn't get that. So this one also, another difference, this thing has 2 NOx sensors. The DE that I had, it only had 1 NOx sensor. So that's another thing. But yeah, it's just little things like that that I'm going to be noticing as I'm doing this project. Just stuff that I'm learning. It's kind of cool. All right, so this thing actually really is not easy to take out. and I'm wondering if there's some special tool, but you literally just pry this thing out. There's no special tool or anything. So yeah, we're having some fun trying to get this thing out. All right, well, I'm trying to get this thing out, but I kind of need room to pry, and this thing's kind of in the way, and I'm trying to take this thing off, but it's not really budging, so I'm thinking it's probably attached to the cam. So we probably gotta come back to the coolant reservoir later, and right now we can focus on getting these valve covers off and seeing what else we need to remove. Okay, so we got the valve covers off. It looks pretty clean in here for the most part, which is kind of surprising. So this is the intake cam is where I'm getting confused. So I know that these HRs have something special about them that really makes them unique. And it's something to do with these things right here. I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what this stuff is. But it looks like something for the variable valve timing. So obviously we also get two phasers up front. One for exhaust, one for the cam. So they got variable valve timing. And then we got this thing, which looks like two giant motors on the back of each intake cam, almost like windshield wiper motors. And they have their own like little cam above the cam for the intake. See, that's the cam right there. That's the intake cam. And then there's this thing, which has like these rocker arms on them. There's three. So obviously one for each. I don't know. No, there's more down here. I don't know. It's really weird. It's really weird. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna do some research on it though and figure out what it is, because if I'm gonna be taking it apart, I should probably know what it is. But right now I'm trying to figure out how to get these motors off so I can get out this coolant piece right here and all this crap. But yeah, it's cool. I'm assuming it's something for some kind of variable valve timing. But I mean, I can't even tell how it works. It looks really complex. I'm trying to understand it, but I can't. And there's two rocker arms on each side. There's one here, because I'm assuming there's one for each valve, each intake valve. But I'm guessing this thing spins with the cam. Maybe when it reaches a certain RPM, this thing will spin and keep the intake open longer, kind of like VTEC, maybe. I'm assuming this is some kind of really weird form of VTEC. If you didn't know, there's a difference between variable valve timing and VTEC. VTEC literally like holds the isn't just advanced or retarded timing. It's literally keeping the valve open longer, and it's opening it up more. So it's literally pushing, like as if you're doing a cam on like an LS. Like you're keeping the intake valves or exhaust valves open longer, and you're keeping them, and you're opening them more, so you're getting more air. And I'm wondering if that's what this is. I wonder if this is some kind of weird Nissan's way of VTEC. And that's what it looks like. But I'm gonna do some research on it. I'm gonna figure out what this is, and I'm gonna get back to y'all. All right, so I figured out what this is. So this is, I'm right. It's just VTEC. It's just Nissan VTEC. It's called VVL or VVEL. I forget what that stands for, but it literally is just Nissan VTEC. It can finally adjust the how much the valve opens and the duration of how the valve opens and the timing with the cam phaser up front. So, and it's super weird. So like here's like a regular basic camshaft, right? With your lobes that are just gonna spin, open the exhaust valves, close. But on this, it's not there's no lobe. It's just like, if I can even zoom in, you really gotta look up a video of how it works in like 3D or whatever. But it comes out and it just like slaps it like over and over and over and over again. It doesn't like spin, do full rotations. It just comes down, up, down, up, down, up. And it's like a little like it's like a half lobe. It's super weird. But basically what it does is when it's at idle, it just barely opens the intake valve, which I guess makes the engine run more efficient, more fuel economy, better emissions. It's just better. It's Nissan VTEC. If we're being honest here, it's Nissan VTEC, except it's really more focused for, it's not like VTEC where it hits at a certain RPM. It's more just like, I guess it's more continuous. But anyways, it helps give this motor its torque curve, which is another thing that makes these motors stand out, is their super flat torque curve. Because these motors, they have more bore than stroke, which is something the VQ35 didn't have. The VQ35 had less bore, more stroke, which gave it more torque, but also gave it a really bad torque curve, which is why if you've driven a DE and you've driven an HR, you've noticed that HR just has power all the way to redline, whereas the DE kind of dies out at the higher RPM, because all the DE's got it all in the low end, but the HR it's got a super flat, smooth curve. So, but yeah, that's what it is. It's Nissan VTEC, which it's a really weird way of VTEC. I'm not sure if it's more efficient. Well, I guess it is more efficient, but it's not. I guess VTEC was more for like power, but this is more for efficiency, and I guess that's really what makes these motors stand out. But yeah, we're going to tear it apart and maybe see a little closer as to how this thing works. Because I guess this motor turns it either clockwise or counterclockwise, and depending on where it's turned, it determines how much and how long that valve is going to stay open. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Alright, so these were kind of a pain in the butt to get off, but you gotta take out the sensor first, and then there's two Allen keys that actually hold it onto this thing. So that motor turns this, which I don't know if I'll be able to turn it by hand. I saw a guy in a video doing it by hand, but I guess if you have this thing turned one way, it's going to be slow and little open, a little movement, and if you have it turned the other way, it's going to be longer and more open. So yeah, it's kind of cool. So that's what those motors are for. And I guess we'll just get back to tearing this thing down. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Alright, so before I take off this crank pulley, we can see it as we spin it over. See it? It's still kind of hard to see. I don't know, it's just really weird. It's cool though, but it's weird. Alright, so I'm gonna flip this thing over to take off this oil pan, because I think we have to in order to get the timing cover off, and holy moly, this thing looks really gross. So, yeah, we're gonna see if we need to, which it looks like we do, because there's a couple of bolts, so. But yeah, good grief, that's disgusting. I'm probably gonna leave the oil pan on, or just throw it back on, and then flip it back over. I'll take out these bolts first, though. Alright, well, We got the timing cover off and oil pan, lower oil pan off. It's still dripping a little bit, so we're done working on it for tonight. But yeah, come back to it another day.